equals Barbour equals British classics or family business. Our material would like to start with the words of the head of the PR department of the Barbour brand, Sue Newton. You can never underestimate the importance of mutual relations between the company and its client at the level of trust in each other. After all, it's so difficult to get the trust of your buyer, and you can lose it overnight. A lot of well-known and respected manufacturers in their time have succeeded in their bitter experience of experiencing what it is. Barbour is a combination of high style and modern technology that allows you not to worry about the weather or the changing fashion. Barbour is a living story that continues today, delighting us with news and new feats. Stone Forest tells you the story of a British brand loved by many, which has been delighting its admirers with quality things and an interesting concept for more than 100 years. If you are a fan of British classics or just appreciate the convenience and simplicity in things, then our material is special for you. Becoming a brand. History of the British brand Barbour takes its beginning in 1894. The first person who is considered the founder of this brand is John Barbour, born in 1849 in western Scotland on Galloway Farm. The boy was the second son in a family ascending its roots to the 14th century. At a fairly young age, 20 years, John decided to leave his native farm and go looking for luck, in the northeast of England, where in early 1870 he began to engage in manufacturing business. A year later, he was lucky enough to marry his longtime lover by the name of Haining, who gave birth to him as many as 11 children, and also inspired to open in 1894 the company, J. Barbour & Sons, translated as J. Barbour & Sons. Initially, the family-owned store sold a variety of outerwear, including jumpsuits and jackets, as well as underwear. The first profit to the brand came mainly from shipowners, shipbuilders and sailors. After all, Barbour supplied them with special waterproof beacon jackets that protected the teams of many ships from rain. Love for motorsport. By the beginning of 1906, the Barbour business was firmly on its feet, and John decided to make his sons, Jack and Malcolm, equal business partners. Malcolm encouraged the expansion of the business, and waterproof jackets began to be sold for landowners, farmers and shepherds. Also thanks to him in 1908 was released the first catalogue of the brand, oriented to sailors and farmers. By the 1920s, this catalogue gave almost 75% of Barbour's business profits, including international orders to countries such as Chile, South Africa and Hong Kong. 4 years later, the company, led by John, Malcolm and Jack, transformed into J. Barbour & Sons Ltd. Father until the end of his life, until 1918, remained the head of the enterprise and continued to keep the brand afloat. A little later, the eldest of the sons, Malcolm, founded Barbour's buying agency, which gave the firm the opportunity to act as a sales agent, buying and supplying those goods that their brand could not supply to people living abroad. This step increased Barbour's costs for servicing buyers, but successfully solved the problem of special applications for any islands, etc. In 1928, the son of Malcolm Duncan entered the family business and began to trade in the largest universities of cities such as Newcastle and Bainbridge. When the First World War came, the demand for Barbour began to grow, as the soldiers needed clothes that saved from the rain. However, after the war, the economic crisis and the Great Depression of 1929 followed, so sales at the brand fell sharply. Instability continued until 1935, after which the company's fortunes took off again. Duncan Barbour was a big fan of motorsport, so in the 30s the brand introduced the Barbour motorcycle line, which was literally swept off the shelves. This line of clothing was worn by many British international teams. However, in 1977, a decision was made to leave the motorcycle clothing market. Although according to the calculations of journalists in 1957, about 97% of all participants in motorsport competitions performed in suits Barbour International oiled cotton. Design was and remains the foundation of Barbour, created by collective efforts. We benefit only from smaller companies that do not consider it necessary to observe the original design of those products that they take as the basis of their business. We do not believe that the company needs a designer with a loud name, as it is accepted from brands of the level of world fashion. We always have a certain number of casual wear designers working in the team, who just find all sorts of solutions to the dedication of our clothes to a unique and attractive image. It is very important that designers understand the importance of the history of Barbour and its achievement, since this is what makes up the very heart of the brand, its soul. Since 1908, we have been publishing our own catalogs, and they are the true source of inspiration for our design team, said Dame Margaret, chairman of the board of directors of the brand in the 70s. Woman owner. Duncan Barbour was called up to the front in the 1940s. After returning, he again began to develop the business, realizing that the way forward lies in building his own clothing manufacturing enterprise. So he went to the South Shields Fringe, where the Simonside Industrial Enterprise Complex was located. I bought the necessary space in these places. After 63 years of trading, the Barbour brand became not only a seller, but also a manufacturer. Unfortunately, Duncan could not control the entire production for long, as he suffered a decline in strength, and at the age of 48 he died. Malcolm and his 19-year-old son John took over the brand. These periods were very difficult for the company, but despite this, sales continued to grow. In 1964, Malcolm died at the age of 83, so his wife Nancy became the head of the company, and his son John was the director. However, 4 years later, he tragically died of a brain hemorrhage, leaving his wife alone with the child. His wife Margaret was a teacher by profession, and she had no idea of the business. However, she had to take the furrows of government into her fragile hands. She plunged into this business with a head, personally became acquainted with all customers and talked with dealers about their vision of the company's development paths. It was she who introduced a new production system, thanks to which sales increased and production grew. The assortment of clothes began to focus its attention on the country style. It is important that as the company grows and develops, we remain true to our core principles: quality, practicality, and tradition. The new veg of fashion and style makes us return to the question of the relevance of our product, but guaranteed quality and innovation can restore confidence that you remain in the case, said Margaret. Royal approval. In 1974, the company received its first royal award from the Duke of Edinburgh, which confirmed the highest level of product quality. It was during those periods that many classic Barbour models were developed. From riding jackets to flyer jackets. In the late 1980s, Barbour supported local and national projects for organizations helping victims of natural disasters. As you know, the brand is becoming widely known throughout the world. In 10 years, the company decides to create fuller collections for men and women, using breathable waterproof materials in the production of all the beloved wax jackets, and also presents a wider range of colors, including dark blue, sand, olive and green. In 1997, Margaret's daughter Helen becomes vice chairman of the company, and thanks in large part to her, the first Barbour store opens in the famous London Harrods. Brand these days. These days, the company owns 11 stores in the UK, and also sells products in 40 countries around the world. Russia, of course, is on this list. The first brand store in our country was opened in 2015 in GUM. Despite the new technologies, the British brand has great respect for the branded wardrobe items that brought it worldwide fame. For this, by the way, many revered the brand and appreciate it. The most popular thing of this brand is considered to be a wax jacket, which is still handmade in the city of Simonside. In a year released more than 2,000 of these jackets. They are all made with a soul and a reverent attitude to the case, and, of course, with respect to the classics. The range of products is constantly filled with different collections, high-tech clothes for hunting, country recreation and riding, stylish outerwear, knitted clothes for men, women, children and even dogs. I, in turn, as the owner of several Barbour things in my wardrobe, can boldly declare that the quality of these products is always at an altitude. Things are comfortable in your nose and will last you a very long time. Therefore, instead of nude popular brands, such as Supreme, etc., take a closer look at the sophisticated British style. Yes, maybe the price tag of this brand is not cheap, but it is better to spend once on an expensive, but high-quality thing, than to walk in cheap, but uncomfortable clothes for you. Moreover, the elite of foggy Albion in the face of the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales and the Queen herself will not wear bad things.